This question says solve for x. Okay, so we got to somehow get x by itself. So you know what you do? If you have a square root, what is the opposite of a square root? Well, that is a square. For example, if you have 16, what is the square root of 16? That's 4. But what is the square of 4? 16. You see, so they are opposites of each other. So to get rid of this, we have to use its opposite, which is a square. So we square the whole thing, but what you do in maths on the one side, you have to do on the other side. So what happens now is that this 2 will completely erase the square root. So you end up with ax on the left and b squared on the right. Now to get x alone, you're just going to divide by a, and there we go. Solve for x. Okay, so when you get a situation like this, I've showed you guys videos like this before. You need to take out a common factor here, but first you're going to have to split it up. So 3x plus, now how does this split? Remember that can split as 3x times 3 to the negative 1, okay? And you're going to end up with 36. Now can you see there's a common factor over here? Okay, so you're going to take out that common factor of 3 to the x, and then you'd be left with 1. Remember, if there's nothing here, you're still going to put a 1, plus 3 to the negative 1 equals to 36. Now, this part in the bracket, you can just go ahead and type it on the calculator. It's going to be 4 over 3. And now we can divide by, so we can say 36 divided by 4 over 3 because we're taking this to the right-hand side. And so if you go type that on the calculator, it'll be 27. Okay, so I'm just going to erase that and say 27. And now what you can do, maybe you know what this becomes, but if not, you can go type it on the calculator, 27, then press equals, then say shift, and then fact. And if you had to work that out, or if you had to do that, you would end up seeing that 27 is the same as 3 to the power of 3. So we could say 3x is equal to 3 to the power of 3. Now when these two are the same, we can ignore them. And then we just end up with x equals to 3. Okay, so here they say, given this over here, solve for x in the inequality. Okay, so before I even look at the inequality, the first thing I notice is that we have fractions. Now, when we have a fraction, and we're busy with equations, we need to get a common denominator. Okay, so if you can imagine that this 1 is currently 1 over 1, so what is a common denominator with 3, 2, and 1? Well, that would be 6. So the lowest common denominator will be 6. So to convert everything to a 6, I would multiply this one here by 2, this one here by 2, because what you do to the bottom, you do to the top. This you would multiply by 3, same at the top, and then this you would multiply by 6, same at the top. Alright, so that's going to leave us with 2x over 6 greater than 3x over 6 plus 6 over 6. Now, when you are busy with equations, inequalities, for example, in equations or inequalities, where you've got an equal sign or if you've got an inequality sign, if your denominators have the same number at the bottom, you can get rid of that, okay? So you'd then end up with 2x is greater than 3x plus 6, and now it's just a matter of solving. So you could take all the x's left, or you could take all of the x's right. It's up to you, okay? I'm going to take all of the x's to the left, so we end up with 2x. Ooh, there's something very interesting coming in up here now. So 2x minus 3x is greater than 6. Now what is 2 minus 3? It's negative 1. Okay, now listen up carefully. I'm going to just rewrite that over here. If you want to get x alone, then you need to divide. By negative 1. When you divide by a negative number, this inequality sign has to change. Okay, like that. Now, here's where learners get it wrong. If this number was already a negative, then you don't have to switch the sign, because then you're not dividing by a negative number. Here you're only dividing by 2. See, you're not dividing by a negative number, you're dividing by a positive number. But when you are dividing with a negative number, like what we did here, then you change the sign, okay? And so x would be smaller than negative 6, because 6 divided by negative 1 is negative 6. Okay, so there's our answer for that one. Now it says if x is an element of z, remember the z means integer. What is an integer? An integer is any number like -3, 7, 8, 0, 10, -4. It's all of the negatives and positives, but it's not numbers with decimals and things like that. So it says if x is an integer, write down the first two two-digit number that satisfies the inequality. So listen to this carefully. What is it saying? It says that x, so let's write this down. X is a number, okay, smaller than negative 6. Now, what is smaller than negative 6? You've got to be super careful about this. Is negative 5 smaller than negative 6? No. Negative 5 is actually bigger than negative 6. But Kevin, 5 is smaller than 6. Yes, but we're going negative. Okay? Would you rather want your bank balance to say negative 6 or negative 5? I'd rather want my bank balance to say negative 5 because it means I'm less in debt. If my bank balance says negative 100, it means that I'm 100 Rand in debt, which means I really don't have a lot of money. So you got to be careful when it's, and I'll show you on a number line. Let's start 0, then it goes 1, 2, 3, and then it goes -1, -2, -3. The more you go that way, the smaller the numbers become because they're going negative. So negative 4 is smaller than negative 3. As you go this way, the numbers become bigger. Okay, so negative 1 is actually bigger than negative 2. So it says here, x is a number smaller than -6. So it means that it must go more this way. Okay, because that means we're going smaller. So let me just draw this in a better place. So if that's 0, that's 1, that's 2. Then negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. I'm going to skip a few and then just go negative 6. So we need to go even smaller than negative 6. So that would be negative 7, negative 8, negative 9. And they said that it must be a two-digit number. So that would be negative 10. So it says x is a number smaller than negative 6. And it must be the first two-digit number that we see. So it would be negative 10. Solve for x and y simultaneously. Now, we know that there are two ways to do simultaneous. There is the elimination method and then substitution. Now, I typically use substitution because especially when you get to older grades like grade 11, 12, you really start using substitution a lot. Now, you can use elimination as well. It's completely up to you. You will get the exact same answer. Okay, I'll actually do both for you guys in this lesson. So on this, let me first do, the elimination method over here. And then here I'll show you how to use substitution. But in a test, you just have to do one of them, okay? So with the elimination method, let's just go write them down underneath each other. Now what we're going to do is we are going to look at the x's. Are they the same? Nope. Look at the y's. They're the same. This is a positive one and this is a negative one. So if I call this equation 1 and I call this equation 2, if I just add those two equations together, then look at the magic. Look at what happens. 2x plus 3x becomes 5x. Positive y, so y plus a negative y ends up becoming y minus y because that becomes a minus, and that's 0. So the y's are gone. It's almost like we eliminated them. That's what it's all about. And then on the right hand side, you're just going to add these two together and that'll give you 15. To get x alone, you're just going to divide by 5, and so x is 3. But we have to find x and y. So what you now do in this technique is you go take that x value and you plug it in to any one of these two equations. You can choose whichever one you like. I'm going to plug it into equation number 1. And so we're going to say 2 times 3 plus 1y is equal to 4. And so that'll be 6 plus y is equal to 4. And so if you take the 6 over, you would end up with 4 take away 6, which is negative 2. So there's the x value, there's the y value. Let me show you substitution, which will become more popular, especially in grade 11 and 12. So with substitution, let's just write down the two equations. 2x plus y equals to 4. We can call that number 1. 3x minus y equals to 11. We'll call that number 2. I'm going to do this in a different color. Okay, so what I do is you try to get x or y by itself. So I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to get this y completely by itself. So that'll say y equals to 4 take away 2x. You see I just took this 2x and I took it to the other side. Okay, and I'll call that equation number 3. I will then put this equation number 3 into the other equation number 2. So what does that mean? It means that I'll take this y value, which is now 4 minus 2x, and I'll put that over there. So it will become 3x minus, then in brackets, I'm going to replace this y with this new expression, which is 4 take away 2x equals 11. And I'm just going to go multiply this minus 1 into the bracket over there and over there. And so we end up with 3x take away 4, add 2x equals to 11. And then I just need to try and solve this now. So the 3x and the 2x, I'm going to add that together to become a 5x. So I'm just going to write it over here because I'm running out of space. Okay, I'm then going to take this minus 4 over to the other side. So it'll become a plus 4 over here. And then 11 plus 4 is 15. I'm then going to divide both sides by 5. And I'll end up with x is equal to 3, just like we got over there. We should get the same answers. I'm now going to get my y value, so I'll just take this and I'll just go plug it into either number 1, number 2, or number 3. Number 3 is always the best one because the y is already by itself. So we can just say that y is equal to 4 take away 2, and then x is 3. So y is equal to 4 take away 6, and so y is equal to -2.